Hello there and welcome to this edition of News 360, coming to you live from our news hub at Adesawe Kanda, Accra. I am Bernice Abubedu-Lansa.
Hello, good evening to you. I am Noble Crosby, and these are the headlines of the bulletin tonight.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank, Nero Prime Water.
Coming up tonight, the Attorney General hints at working with U.S. authorities to pursue persons implicated in the bribery scheme linked to a power plant project after the former managing director of TOR was convicted in the U.S.
Also in the bulletin, we'll take you to the northeast region where the Bribery Dam spillage is threatening farmers.
And much later in the bulletin, we'll be telling you what the Deputy Health Minister has been saying with regard to dealing with teenage pregnancy in the country.
Tonight in international news, Iran sets new conditions to reopen the Strait of Hormuz amid U.S. tensions. Welcome to the program. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana, live on DSTV channel 279. Thank you so much for joining us on all of those platforms, as well as a lot more. Let's settle for the details of the stories now. Right
away, Crosby. And the Attorney General says Ghana is working with U.S. authorities to pursue persons implicated in that alleged bribery scheme linked to a power plant project involving the government of Ghana and a Turkish energy company. This follows the conviction of former TOR managing director Asantehene in the U.S., with anti-corruption campaigners now calling for Ghanaian authorities to take up the matter. Anita Agbota has more.
U.S. prosecutors say the scheme began in December 2014 when Ghana was facing an energy crisis. Over $1 million in alleged bribes was reportedly targeted at Ghanaian officials. About $250,000 was allegedly allocated to a senior advisor to the then power minister, while another $46,000 was allegedly paid to MPs involved in rectifying the agreement. 5 Ghanaian officials were also allegedly flown to Turkey on an all-expense-paid trip to inspect equipment linked to the proposed power plant. Prosecutors say Beko concealed the alleged payments through personal emails, shell companies, sham invoices and nominee accounts, and coded language. Goldman Sachs later pulled out of the deal over corruption concerns. The former TOR managing director has been convicted by a federal jury in the United States and awaiting sentencing. He faces up to 30 years in prison. Back home in Ghana, calls continue to grow for the accountability of all persons said to be involved in the corruption scheme. Co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Adam Senanu, is calling for a full investigation into the allegations and anyone implicated in the case.
It's important that we are seen ourselves to have done our investigations to hold accountable anyone who, as it were, has undermined the development of this nation and has taken resources that ought not to have been, filtered away. So it's good news. So my position is that our own institutions of state, agencies, whether it's the office of the special prosecutor or it's the AGs, and if you ask my preference is to certainly be the OSP, to go into these matters and find out the veracity, and if there are individuals who've already been stated, it's available in the court proceedings in the US. Let's take those names and begin to work to investigate and build on it.
Meanwhile, Deputy Attorney General Justice Ramsai says the Attorney General's office is working with the U.S. authorities to bring to book persons implicated in the alleged bribery scheme linked to the 2014-2017 power plant development contract between the Turkish energy company and the government of Ghana. Asantehene is a dual citizen of Ghana and the United States of America.
So here's a quick summary of the case as we have it, and you see that on your screen right now. At the center of this case is Asantehene. He is a former tour managing director who has now been convicted in the United States over a bribery scheme connected to a power project in Ghana. So U.S. has some sort of jurisdiction to get him. Also, prosecutors say that the scheme involved more than $1 million intended to influence Ghanaian officials and help secure government approvals for the project that is in question. Now, the third point we're looking at is that, and part of that money, about $46,000, was allegedly directed at members of parliament connected to the ratification of the power agreement. What does this suggest? Now, investigators say that this was not done through straightforward payments. The money was allegedly moved through shell companies, questionable invoices, and then cash withdrawals, making the transactions harder to trace. That was the intention, but now it has all come to light. The fifth fact of the case, as we know, is that the alleged inducements, they were also not limited to cash. So beyond the $46,000, 5 Ghanaian officials were reportedly taking on an all-expense-paid trip to Turkey as part of efforts surrounding the deal. Whatever this means, you can have your ideas. The concerns became serious through that Goldman Sachs eventually pulled out of the transaction after questions were raised about how the project was being pursued. Now, Beko, he has now been convicted, we know that, and when he returns to court for sentencing, the thing is that he could face a substantial prison term, potentially up to 30 years, according to the case leveled against him. The eighth fact of the case, as we know, is that, but for Ghana, this is where the bigger question begins. Who were the officials allegedly involved, and will they be held accountable here at home? And that is now the focus now, with the Attorney General saying that Ghana is working with U.S. authorities to pursue persons implicated in this scheme that has gotten Mr. Beko in trouble in the United States. What lessons we learn as a country going forward, and what forms of punishment, if you like, or what forms of, lessons will we give to the people who are found to have played various roles in all of this happening?
Right, Crosby, now talking about Asantehene, a dual citizen of Ghana and the United States, has reignited debate over Ghana's dual citizenship laws and proposed constitutional reforms that would allow dual citizens to hold certain public offices. The following report examines the key arguments advanced on both sides of the debate.
The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Bill 2025 seeks to amend Article 8, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution. Article 8, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution currently bars persons who owe allegiance to another country from occupying certain public offices. These include the position of Ambassador or High Commissioner, Secretary to the Cabinet, Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs, Inspector General of Police, and other officers prescribed under the Constitution. One of the leading proponents of the bill is Member of Parliament for Impriso, Davis Nsa Opoku, argues that the amendment would enable Ghana to benefit from the expertise, investment, and international experience of Ghanaians living abroad.
If you want to be able to attract the needed talent, the needed resources, the needed skills to move nation Ghana forward, we should not create any barrier for any Ghanaian, whether a person holds a dual or does not hold a dual citizen.
However, the Council of State has advised Parliament to discontinue consideration of the bill, raising constitutional concerns over the proposed amendment.
I received the advisory opinion of the Council of State on the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Bill 2025. The bill seeks to amend provisions of the Constitution relating to citizenship-based qualifications from public office. The bill was referred to the Council of State on 30th March 2026 in accordance with Article 291, Clause 2 of the Constitution for consideration and advice. The Council has duly rendered its advice, and in doing so has advised against the passage of the bill by Parliament.
Although the Council of State recommendation carries considerable weight, it's advisory and does not bind Parliament, which has the constitutional mandate to determine the fate of the bill. Member of Parliament for Akwitia, Bernard Bediako-Beidu, there is nothing fundamentally wrong with the current constitutional provision. However, he believes any attempt to amend citizenship and public office eligibility requirement must be approached with caution.
We must tread cautiously. You see, at the end of the day, much as I understand and I agree, and the current legal dispensation is that you cannot. That is why Jechikwezin and others had those issues. People have said that it doesn't matter. Elsewhere, people can be. There are other places you can also be.
Yeah.
Looking at our history, I would think that there would have been nothing wrong with it, but we have to be careful.
Former Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Inusa Fuseni, believes the restrictions should apply only to the presidency and members of Parliament.
A member of Parliament is a representative of the people. And the people here are citizens of Ghana. The citizens of Ghana will want a citizen of Ghana to represent them in Parliament. And so, to make laws for their own benefit. In fact, the representational duties of a member of Parliament arises because all the citizens of Ghana cannot be sitting in Parliament making laws for themselves.
If approved, the amendment would allow dual citizens to occupy public offices that are currently restricted under the Constitution. Parliament is expected to decide its next course of action after considering the Council of State recommendation. Under Chapter 25 of the 1992 Constitution, constitutional amendments must follow clearly defined procedures with entrenched positions, requiring approval through a national referendum. Whether Parliament proceeds with the Dual Citizenship Amendment Bill, despite the Council of State's advice, remains one of the key constitutional questions before the House. And Yunam Haliga, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, still in governance, political interference is undermining Ghana's decentralization agenda, with experts warning that the system is falling short of its promise to bring governance closer to the people. They blame partisan politics, inadequate funding, and weak accountability as well for slowing progress decades after decentralization was introduced.
Decentralization was designed to empower local assemblies to drive development, improve services, and bring decision-making closer to communities. Now, Ghana's Constitutional Review Committee is proposing major reforms, including the election of metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives instead of presidential appointments. The proposals also include an independent devolution commission and greater fiscal autonomy for local governments. But President of the Chamber for Local Governance, Dr. Richard Fiajomo, says political interference and indiscipline continue to weaken the system.
Today, if you're a chief executive and you want to be very assertive and there's political interference and you want to show that you are the Oga, before you say Jack, the next day you see a press release on TV3 that so and so has been removed by His Excellency the President. So that political interference is actually not allowing our chief executives to actually give off their best. The civil servant and the local government staff, they are very well qualified people, but they do not want to give off their best because when they do and anything goes wrong, the next thing is they will have to be transferred from where they are to a different place, and sometimes they see it as punishment, which is not necessarily the case.
Governance expert Dr. Frederick Odro also identifies implementation as the biggest challenge. He says citizens must be given the power to directly elect their metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives. He further warns that inadequate funding is crippling local governments and limiting their ability to deliver development.
Our legal framework, the Constitution, the Local Governance Act, and other policies that we've had on this country all support decentralization. But in terms of the practicality of decentralization, we've not gone as far as I believe we could have gone. Sometimes the problem is not coming even from politicians, but even civil and public servants at the national level who would want to continue to control issues at the local level. I don't see how partisanship, even partisanship in terms of I belong to this group, I belong to that group, should affect the abilities of our assemblies to do their work effectively.
With communities still demanding better roads, schools, and healthcare, experts say Ghana's decentralization agenda will remain limited unless political interference is reduced and local governments are given greater financial and decision-making powers. Beatrice Soa, TV3 News, Accra.
Let's turn our attention to health now. Teenage pregnancy remains a growing concern in Ghana, with Deputy Health Minister Dr. Grace Ayensu-Danquah calling for urgent action to reverse the trend. Authorities warn the numbers could escalate without stronger interventions in child protection, sex education, and adolescent health.
Teenage pregnancy remains a major driver of maternal health challenges in Ghana. Health officials caution that more young girls risk losing their future without urgent intervention. Nearly 1,000 teenage pregnancies in just 18 months, some involving children as young as 10. That is the disturbing situation confronting the Ghana West municipality. These minors face motherhood at an early age, losing their childhood in the process. During visits to the Ghana West Municipal Hospital, Kokofu Health Center, and Ehiabu Chief's compound, Deputy Health Minister Dr. Grace Ayensu-Danquah described the situation as alarming and called for urgent intervention.
If a teenager is pregnant, they are technically high risk because they don't really understand their bodies, nor do they even understand the baby that is inside their body. So what we have to do is, of course, again, is public education. So some of these community engagements, talking to the chiefs, we need everybody on board. When it comes to pregnancy, and especially teenage pregnancy, it's not only about the hospital. It's more about the community, the family, traditions, and also culture. So we are working very hard to sensitize them, especially in Amasaman, has really high teenage pregnancy.
She urged parents, schools, religious bodies, and communities to intensify education on abstinence, reproductive health, and child protection to curb teenage pregnancies and reduce maternal deaths.
We are not waiting for everything to rise and then come up with a road plan. We are still working as we are speaking. They've put systems in place where now they are out in those specific communities where they are seeing them, and they are doing intense public education, even all the way up to the schools.
Reproductive and Child Health Coordinator Jemima Mafu attributed the situation partly to inadequate parental supervision and urged parents to pay closer attention to their children.
Last year alone, we recorded about over 700 of our teenage girls getting pregnant. And for this year, at half year, we are doing 270, with 5 being early teen, that is 10 to 13 years. For a girl to become pregnant, it starts from the home. If the parental care is so high, or parental support is good, well, we can get some girls being stubborn, but the percentage will be very minimal. If you don't care so much about your girl child, that is where these problems can come up. Some will even push their girls into prostitution.
The Deputy Minister further stressed that the government remains committed to strengthening maternal and adolescent health care through expanded public education and improved access to quality services. Beatrice Soa, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, Ghana's first Islamic College of Education, Al Farouk College of Education, is facing major infrastructure challenges that continue to hinder teaching and learning. The situation has renewed calls for government intervention to upgrade facilities and improve conditions at the institution. This is a report by Claude Kumiabisa.
College of Education, one of Ghana's 49 public colleges of education, was absorbed into the public tertiary system in 2015 and admitted its first students in 2016. The college, which now has about 1,300 students and over 100 staff, continues to face infrastructure challenges after being converted from a basic school with several planned projects stalled.
It was a basic school, so it was structured and designed in that. So when the government came in 2016, awarded 7 massive facilities. And all these 7 massive facilities, I think they stall at the land preparation site. This include a 2-story administration block. It also include a 4-story hostel facility and a cafeteria, a 4-story lecture hall and a laboratory, a multi-purpose structure including auditorium of 2,000 capacity. It also includes a principal bungalow and then a demonstration basic school and then ultra-modern entrance, including lane, lawn, access route, and all that.
The principal, Alhaji Swalihu Wahab, has also appealed for a college bus to support student teachers during teaching practice.
From 2016 up to now, we don't have a college bus. So anytime our students are going out for supported teaching in schools, they have to walk to town. And that is very, very dangerous.
Meanwhile, the SRC president, Amadou Abdul Mumin, said inadequate classrooms are affecting lecture schedules.
When it is time for lectures, most times we would have to wait for others to go and come back. If we have 3 credit hours for a course, sometimes it would have to be reduced to 2. It's a bit worrying. That particular structure is a mosque. We use a part of it as a classroom block, and then we use it for programs as and when the need arises. And we are also using that one as a mosque as well.
To address the college's infrastructure challenges, the government, through Get Fund, is constructing a hostel facility, a 12-unit classroom block, a multi-purpose dining hall, and a teacher's bungalow. Emmanuel Asari Ejapong, project manager at Asbin Nessos, expressed confidence that the project would be completed on schedule.
We have 2 lots of projects. Lot 1 consisting of the hostel facility and then the 12-unit classroom block, and then the lot 2 consisting of the multipurpose dining hall and a teacher's bungalow. So with what we have, I think we are almost about 30% complete, putting everything together. The project timeline, lot 1 is about 18 months, and then the lot 2 is about 20 months to 22 months. We took it upon ourselves to start early so that we can make sure completion timelines will be met.
The Bono Regional Minister, Joseph Adai Akwabwa, has reaffirmed the government's commitment to improving infrastructure at Al Farouk College of Education during an inspection of ongoing Get Fund funded projects in the Wonchi municipality.
Outsiders do come here to learn the Arabic language. Therefore, I assure the principal that we will do anything in our capacity to ensure that the college receives the needed support, because it is the president who established it. Therefore, he has his eyes on it, and he will ensure that by the end of his term, the college will receive a facelift.
I want to thank the government of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for giving us these 4 new projects. The contractor is doing so well, and I want to ensure that maybe the contractor will do and finish on time.
Claude Kemi Ebisa, TV3 News, Wenchi, Bono Region.
Some more stories on News 360. The acting rent commissioner, Frederick Opoku, has led an intensified nationwide crackdown on exploitative hostel charges, leading to the closure of 5 private hostels around the Koforidua Technical University. The exercise forms part of a broader campaign to regulate student accommodation costs, following several complaints from students and the National Union of Ghana Students. Nura Mohammed has more.
The recent closure of 5 hostels housing students of Koforidua Technical University by the Rent Control Commission in collaboration with the Ghana Tourism Authority was due to the operator's failure to comply with the provisions of Ghana's rent laws. Some of the hostels were operating without the required licenses, while others were charging exorbitant rents, prompting the regulatory action. Students have, for a long time, lodged multiple complaints over poor sanitation, safety concerns, inadequate ventilation, and overcrowded rooms. Frederick Opoku is the acting rent commissioner.
Hostel operators, now and then, every semester,
think that that is their right to be increasing without any justification. Some of the complaints that came from the hostel, for example, Koforidua Technical University, including Adishie and 4 others that were shut down yesterday, have to do with sanitation issues, ventilation, and everything that has to do with their health. 2 in 1, 3 in 1, 5,000 Ghana cedis. Then the next semester, they increase 2,500. So the question is, what maintenance did you do? More importantly, you promised them after the semester, we will do A, B, or Z. They come, it is not done. No tenancy agreement. Nothing is done, agreed with them. If they think that you have to leave, you leave. And that we believe it is not fair.
He adds that the commission is in the meantime liaising with the university authorities to find temporary accommodation solutions for the affected students as they vacate the premises.
We have been talking to the vice chancellors and the leaders of the university. Example, when rent control we enter into an institution, we try to talk to the leadership. Let them know the reason why we are doing what we are doing. Because you know what? And the numbers of our stakeholders or the owners of the hosts and the leaders, they should have some kind of cordialship with the hostel facilities. But here is the case, if you call them, they don't come. The fact that we are in short of accommodation does not warrant we should treat and kill people. That you can't just do 2 wrong things and make it right. 1, before you can operate again, first of all, we will treat you as a new hostel. It means that you must go through all the rudiments, get the place fixed, come for assessment, apply. Then we will sit down with you after assessment, let you know per your investment and what you have done. It is fair to the student and fair to your investment before you are certified to come again.
For many students already struggling with tuition, transportation and living expenses, affordable accommodation remains a critical concern. The Rent Control Commission says the crackdown is intended to protect students from unfair charges while ensuring hostel operators comply with the law. Nura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
Isn't it a good time to have a look at how the weather situation will be like in parts of the country within the next 12 hours?
Weather News segment is brought to you by Syntex Tank.
from the Bribery Dam on August 11. Farmers along the White Volta say delayed rains have already left their crops immature, leaving them very little time to harvest before the expected spillage, which may lead to flooding. Here's a report by Solomon Kanalue.
Authorities of Bribery Dam in Burkina Faso prepare to open the dam spillways to prevent structural damage from rising reservoir levels. Farmers in communities like Kariminga, Bimbini, Banawa, Yama, Janga, Pasimpe, Yagba, Kubore, and several surrounding areas in the northeast region are living in fear. The impact of the impending spillage threatens to destroy their entire investments. According to these farmers, the late arrival of the rains delayed planting, leaving maize and other crops in the forest far from maturity. With the scheduled spillage date approaching, families are staring at the potential loss of their entire food supply and seasonal income.
This year it will be very difficult. No one will be able to harvest a single crop because this is the 8th month of the year, and we normally in the 9th month, that is in September. But now they are opening very early. It is going to destroy a lot of crops, and no one will even harvest. You can't even take maize, fresh maize to chop. they are not matured. So when the floods come, no one will harvest even a single crop.
Beyond the farms, the rising waters frequently submerge key access routes. This creates a dangerous barrier for those trying to reach health facilities or seek emergency help. The communities are now pleading for government support, specifically requesting flying boats and life jackets to ensure safe movement during the flood season.
So I want to appeal to government to get us a modern boat that can carry people to and fro from deep sea to passenger and passenger to Kunkwa and vice versa. This is important because most of the workers, let's say nurses, teachers, some of them stay in the nearby communities and come to execute their responsibility.
There is also growing concern regarding the accuracy of the notification process. Some community members, after sharing their experiences, noted that in previous years, water levels rose before the official dates provided, leading to unexpected losses and risk of several lives. They are requesting that the government investigate these timing discrepancies to ensure they can better prepare for the future.
One guy went to the farm to harvest his maize. He didn't know that the water is increasing until he got to a point that he couldn't move. So that guy stood there till the following day. He couldn't get a tree to climb. He stood there till the following day. And when the following day, the entire community went with boats to the farm, they saw him standing there. They brought him. I think he was admitted at the hospital or clinic here and later referred to Walwale. He stayed in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. So, not that alone, we don't have people almost drawing in the water, but we can see dead bodies passing. We can see dead bodies, even animals on the water, dead passing, and that is very dangerous.
As always announced, the said date will not even come on, yet they will see that the water level has increased.
While the National Disaster Management Organization and the Water Resources Commission have issued formal press releases, communities along the White Volta report that no official has visited the area to conduct any sensitization exercises regarding their safety. Meanwhile, the Northeast Regional Director for NADMO, Rafiu Badadi, acknowledges that his team is yet to visit these vulnerable communities.
We heard it on news, and then friends also communicating to us. This is the media that we have used to hear. But NADMO has not yet come to make this announcement. I know they will come, but by the time they will come, it will be too late. They normally come to make publicity, announcing all the communities near the white voter. Yes, but they have not yet come.
Reporting for TV3, Solomon Kwame Kanalwe, Northeast Region.
And now the Asantehene Otumfuo has appealed to the Ghana Revenue Authority to broaden its focus and target untapped sectors of the economy to widen the national tax net. He said this when the board of directors, commissioners and senior members of the GRA paid a courtesy visit to him at the Menchia Palace in Kumasi. There's a report by Benjamin Adu.
The visit was used to introduce the board of directors, seek Asantehene's blessings, and announce the departure of Agnes Edujemfie J, Ashanti Regional Director of GRA. The Asantehene stressed the importance of equitable revenue collection, while highlighting that tapping into overlooked sectors, especially informal businesses, is critical for maximizing national development. He observed this will help ease the burden on traditional taxpayers. He stressed that expanding the tax net would yield little result if officers and revenue officials do not exercise transparency and accountability in their operations. The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Sapon, briefed Asantehene on the measures propelling revenue maximization.
As at June, we're collecting 5.5 billion. In the month of July, we collected 6.1 billion, which means that our custom reforms is working. Today, for every 10 businesses that exist, only 4 pay the VAT. 6 are not paying. And within the 6, some are not charging, some are charging and not remitting. Parliament approved for us to have a project where government will mandatorily install devices in shops that we buy and those who provide services. That is going to be a game changer in our VAT administration.
Now, the growing virtual asset market is opening up new opportunities for investment, innovation and job creation. But regulators say understanding the risks must come before investing. The Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission are driving a new national education campaign to promote greater awareness and responsible participation in the digital economy.
SEC and BOG are taking their campaign beyond Accra, and Ashanti has become the first region outside the capital to host the initiative. Dubbed Navali, the campaign seeks to equip Ghanaians with the knowledge to navigate the rapidly changing virtual asset landscape safely and responsibly. Director for FinTech and Innovation at the Bank of Ghana, Owureku Asari, says regulation alone cannot protect citizens if they do not understand the environment in which they are investing.
The success of any regulatory framework ultimately depends on the knowledge, awareness, and preparedness of the people it seeks to serve. As we move around the world, and even in our shops, we have witnessed cases of fraud, market manipulation, misleading investment schemes, cybercrime, and significant financial losses suffered by individuals who engage in virtual assets without a full understanding of the risk involved.
Deputy Director General of Finance at the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mensa Thompson, says virtual assets are no longer a niche market.
Our responsibility is to ensure that every Ghanaian understands the opportunities, recognizes the risks, and invests with confidence. With nothing more than a smartphone and a mobile money wallet, anyone can enter this market within minutes. The same ease of access, however, means that losses can occur just as quickly. That is why Parliament acted and why the SEC and the Bank of Ghana are here today.
Ghana's Virtual Asset Service Provided Act 2025, Act 1154, now provides the legal framework for licensing and supervising virtual asset businesses. The law covers areas including exchanges, custodians, brokers, wallet providers, and tokenized investment products. But as the virtual asset market expands, regulators want Ghanaians to resist the temptation of quick returns and ask the right questions before committing their money.
Now, Ignite Social Enterprise Limited has officially entered the Sub-Saharan African market with Ghana as one of its frontier markets. The launch came with the appointment of media entrepreneur Bola Ray as the company's global advisory board. The company says its broad ambition is to build a long-term presence in Africa by making economic participation more digital and inclusive.
Ignite Social Enterprise Limited is a global social enterprise focused on helping micro-entrepreneurs grow through social e-commerce. Its model combines wellness and lifestyle products with digital tools, training, and entrepreneurship opportunities. At the center of its digital offerings is Brainify, an AI-powered learning platform designed to equip users with practical digital, business, and financial skills. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch, the working upline for Ignite, Pathman Senathuraja, noted that they are going to collaborate with the government to ensure Ghanaians enjoy the benefit of their product.
We are going to introduce Brainify to the Ministry of Education. So we created a program for below 13. So young kids can start using AI in the schools of Ghana through the Ministry of Education. And one of the plans of Ignite is to identify skincare that we want to find in Africa and take it global. We want to train the youth of Ghana on the skill sets required to start their journey of entrepreneurship. We are also collaborating to make sure that our business is not misrepresented. So we have collaborated with the CID, with the BNI, all right, to work closely with them.
Nathan Anochie DC, popularly known as Bolore, while speaking on his appointment to the Global Advisory Board, highlighted on some opportunities Ignite present.
It's going to impact the youth out there especially and empower them in terms of entrepreneurship, youth entrepreneurship, creating skills and also jobs for people, also putting on wellness products for people to market and sell.
With Ghana as a launch pad for its wider African ambitions, Ignite says it is positioning digital learning, entrepreneurship and social commerce as tools to help more people participate in the formal and digital economy.
Thank you so much for staying here on News 360. We'll be back with sports news updates shortly.
Nana, I couldn't sleep the whole of the night.
This is my promise.
Wow.
But Dana Kunkun.
I love that.
Yokokrin says the team is ready for the tie, while Captain Cynthia Cullen has described the game as very important. A win for the Black Stars will punch their tickets, for the Black Queens will punch their tickets to the World Cup for the first time since 2007.
We know that we're going to play one of the most important games in the women's football that have been in, I don't know, 20 years maybe or something like that. We know it. The girls know it. The coaches know it. Everybody that works in the FA know about it. Okay, so it means that we're gonna do everything that we can to win this game, to make sure that we have a Ghanaians women's national team that's gonna play in the Brazilian World Cup next year.
This means a lot to us because it's a big platform out there whereby every player wants to showcase their talent and also show the world what they got. So I think this is very, very important to us, and we really need to work hard and get to where we want to be. I think every team here wants to book a ticket to the World Cup. That is why we are all here fighting for it. So I think we are just focusing on that. And if you're able to book a ticket, that is tomorrow, then we look up to the next level. But we just take it step by step.
Still in sports tonight, Arsenal have signed Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle United for £75 million. The former Newcastle captain made it clear he wanted to join the Premier League champions earlier this summer. Now, the 28-year-old Brazil midfielder, who has signed a 4-year deal with the option of a further 12 months, called the move one of the toughest decisions of his life. Well, in sports again, Lionel Messi's father, George, has died at the age of 68 following a long illness. George, who had also been the Argentina forward's agent since he was 14, passed away in a hospital in his hometown of Rosario, Argentina, in the early hours of Saturday. Now, after speculating about his health during the summer's World Cup, the Messi family issued a statement saying he was dealing with a health-related situation, but did not disclose the nature of his condition. George helped his son become arguably the best player of all time. Well, some sad news there for the Messi family. But that's it for sports tonight.
Coming up shortly is international news updates.
The Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council said in a statement that the United States must change its behavior for the Strait of Hormuz to be reopened. According to reports by Al Jazeera, the conditions include ending threats against Iran and its sacred values, withdrawing U.S. naval and air forces involved in what Iran described as a blockade, releasing Iran's frozen assets, among others. Iran insists that the Strait of Hormuz will only be reopened conditionally, depending on the actions taken by the United States. Health workers on the front lines of treating Ebola patients in the Democratic Republic of Congo are threatening strike action over months of unpaid wages. The country is currently facing an outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus, which emerged in mid-May this year. According to the Congolese Ministry of Health, at least 3,874 people have been infected and 1,755 have died from the virus. The death toll from a school shooting in Thailand has risen to 9 after police said a 12-year-old girl caught up in Friday's incident died. The girl died in the early hours of Saturday, August 8th. On Friday, August 7th, a 14-year-old boy allegedly shot his grandparents before killing 5 other people at his school and then turning the gun on himself.
Well, that's our package for you tonight, but there's always more news on our website, 3news.com. I am Noble Crosby Annan.
And also on all our social media platforms, we've got news updates coming through. I'm Bernice Abubedu Lansa. Do have a good night.